but it is not believed that the appeal could be heard before election time. And so in the ruling, Judge Simpson granted a preliminary injunction, temporarily halts enforcement of the law until after the November 6th election. And in his decision, he wrote, consequently, I am not still convinced in my predictive judgment that there will be no voter disenfranchisement arising out of the Commonwealth's implementation of a voter identification requirement for purposes of the upcoming election. Under these circumstances, I am obliged to enter a preliminary injunction. So, he did not strike the law down entire. He just said it can't go into effect for this election. Mm-hmm. But it gives the state officials the opportunity to make sure that everyone has their voter ID by the next election.
Yes. And that makes a lot more sense. Welcome to the chat room, Jillian, the co-host of the co-host. Yes. Okay. So, yes, as I read this, Jackie, I was just delighted. And the more we see this, the judges not upholding this mess.
Yes.
Even if they uphold a little part of it to try to make them feel better and appease them a little bit.
Yes.
We're winning on this front.
Yeah, but like the point that was made before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court was that if everyone had an ID, there wouldn't be a problem. Mm-hmm. But the legislature passed this law that made it very hard to get an ID, and certainly impossible for all the people without this ID to get it by the time the election rolled around in November.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, they knew that it was going to cause all kinds of havoc, but I think they thought that it would just be granted to them. We made it a law. They're too slow to know what's happening. I mean, Barack's he's got the country and he's campaigning and they're not going to do it. Well, we could all see the setup. And I know if we saw it out here, then Eric Holder and Barack and them saw it up there.
Oh, yeah.
The getting rid of Acorn and then trying to get rid of Eric Holder because they knew that he would fight these laws. Yeah. And then trying to keep Barack off the ballot.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You have never seen such craziness in your entire life.
I know. It's outrageous.
Jackie, and they continue to tell us that we're just, they're not being racist.
Right.
There's nothing racial about it. Show me what white president y'all tried to keep off the ballot.
I know.
Show me what white president you for 4 years asking for his birth certificate. Now, I don't mean to jump on white folks. My husband was white. I ain't got nothing about white men, and he's the best white man I know. Mm-hmm. And I still love him to this day. Mm-hmm. We just saying that y'all know you got a little history against black folks. And when we see the blatant racism, then you don't want us to say nothing about it. And I commend my president. He won't say anything about it.
No.
He won't say it. It took Jimmy Carter and it took Bill Clinton to say to the nation, they hate him.
Yes.
And they hate him for this reason. And so I'm just please just punch, Jackie. We've been saying, and we consider ourselves now the Cleos, the Miss Cleos of the political world. Jackie and I are political psychics. And we see this stuff, envision it, and then we tell you. So we told you God don't like ugly. So Pennsylvania, out.
Yes.
Ohio.
Okay. In Ohio, after the public went nuts, Ohio regarding them cutting back their early voting days, the Ohio legislature repealed its own legislation. Okay.
Wait a minute, Jackie. Say that again. The
Ohio legislature repealed its own legislation that cut back on early voting days.
So, Jackie, why did they...
Wait, it gets better.
Oh,
okay. Lord. But in their repeal, they kept a ban on the 3 days of early voting right before the election. And, of course, the Obama campaign took that to court, and the state court overturned that. Now, Ohio is appealing, but I doubt that they can get their appeal before the election.
Wait.
And as many people know, that in Ohio, early voting started today. And Michelle Obama was there.
And Jackie, she was in Iowa a couple of days ago.
When it started in Iowa.
It started in Iowa last week, and she was there, and they had a marching band.
Wait. It gets better. They had a marching band in Ohio, too.
You know, Jackie, their Republican brethren are saying, you're not excited. You need to get excited. You need to do something. Well, you can't do it because the Democratic Party is the hip party.
Yes, well, and not only that, the Republican Party has made a lot of people mad.
They made a lot of people mad.
A lot of people mad.
And Jack, I'm going to tell you, when this white Negro get ready to go to jail down here in Florida.
Well, you see, you keep skipping ahead.
I'm sorry. You're right. That's coming up next.
Because I have one more thing to add, too, about
Ohio.
About Ohio.
Okay, go ahead.
I just heard this report that in one county, the county in which Toledo is situated, they have had twice as many people to cast early votes in the first day than they did in 2008. Did you hear me?
Yes, I did.
Twice as many on the first day.
Yes.
And out of those, it was nearly 1,000 people. And out of those 1,000 people, 700 were Democrats, 40 were Republicans, and about 200 were unaffiliated. Yes,
Jackie, wasn't that funny?
Talk about 700 to 40.
You know, I was wondering why my crackhead governor, why he wanted to cut out early voting. You know, we got over 1 million people in the state of Florida, and we got 1 million people right here in Orlando. So we got over that here in the state of Florida, and we had a 15-day early voting thing. Now, how could that mess with? How did that hurt anybody?
It didn't.
But they know that the Democratic history is that we go and vote early.
Yes.
And then our pages, our ballots are 3 to 10 pages long, depending on the county you're in.
Yeah, they're making it really hard.
So y'all just get ready to your sample ballots. Go ahead and pick out who you're gonna pick out and put it on a little piece of paper. Yeah. That's exactly how the ballot's gonna look when you get to the box. And I intend to tell the Obama campaign, suggest that to them if we can't make up just a sheet.
Yes.
And just help our older citizens and our young, and ain't nobody, that's what they're hoping. Well, you're not gonna read it, but if we get our sample ballots, if he tried to cut that out, I don't guess.
Yeah, well, I want to get to Florida.
Please do, girl, because I'm dying to talk about them.
Your crackhead governor in Florida has just been busy.
Yeah, he's busy with his crazy butt.
Okay, a federal court blocked the early voting limits in Florida for 5 of the counties covered by Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that happened. And
and they shaved 7 days off of it because we have 15 now. We have 8.
Yes,
but that's okay.
In 5 counties, that's not the case.
That's right. In 5 counties, that's not the case.
Also in Florida, your crackhead governor has started this big voter purge, of which you are.
Yes, which I was on the list. I was 357.
Yes, and that was stopped. Mm-hmm. But now they have resumed their stalled voter purge on a smaller scale and without the cooperation of local election officials.
Yep, because whether they're Republican or Democrat, they will not participate in this mess. And they said that they had their seminar this year, Jackie, and they all took a pledge there that they were not going to follow these crooked ass laws that our criminal ass governor, he's a criminal.
Yes, he is.
Jackie, this man was all but convicted.
Yes.
Of Medicaid fraud.
The biggest Medicare fraud in the history of the country, yes.
Okay, in the history of Medicaid, and he paid $2 billion in fines to keep his ass out of jail.
And think about that he had $2 billion to pay and still be a billionaire.
Okay, and still brought his criminal ass back here and paid $56 million of his own money to beat Alex Sink. And then at the last straw, what did he do? True to Republican form, dragged out his mama. Rick's a good boy. Made a commercial with her. And that helped to convince the old people, oh, well, there's another old lady saying he's a good boy, his mama. But now he's not going to have that chance again, Jackie, because Republicans and Democrats alike here are hating his ass. I try not to look at the chat room every week, but it always happens, and I look at it. And I looked over and I saw Wildcat. Wildcat Radio is in the chat room, and he wrote, Fox has dragged out the 2007 Reverend Wright video.
Of course they have.
Jackie.
I'm not surprised to see it, sweetie. I'm not surprised at all.
Okay, let me tell the Republicans this. Are y'all listening? Republicans, listen to me. If you would stop with the old race baiting shit and just tell your plan, either way you're going to lose. But the race baiting shit doesn't help you.
Yes.
Because the majority of the white people in this country understand that if we go back to that, Jackie,
yes,
as Rand Paul wants us to,
yes,
and Aiken, I'm all for civil rights, but I just don't like the governor saying that if you serve the public that you got to let anybody, you keep anybody out who you want. Go somewhere and sit down. Because the whole nation knows, and the majority of us, white, black, red, blue, and green, us, the rainbow coalition of us, we know, Jackie, that will only lead to rioting and walking the streets, and you always got some crazy in some group, whether they black or white, somebody shooting. We got enough people being killed. And
not only that, it's just bad for business.
It's bad for business. It's bad for this nation. Yes. And I believe that what is drawing even more white people, old and Republican and everything, to the Republican side to vote for Barack Obama this year is because he doesn't spout the hatred. They pay all this money, Jackie, for strategists and analysts and all these people to lead them to victory.
Yes.
And this is what they're telling. Fire their asses. Hire me and Jackie. We'll tell you, even though you ain't gonna win, but we'll tell you how to get there. Me and Jackie would have done that shit for $1 million. She could have took $500,000. And we could have told you, no, don't do that. Jackie, we would have told them, wouldn't we?
That's right. Don't do that.
But see, Jack and I would have told you wouldn't have taken our advice anyway, but at least we would have told you, and you would have paid us our money, and we'd have been gone and said, bye, boo.
That's right. And you wouldn't be having all this bad publicity.
Yeah, because we know you can't keep your mouth shut. Jackie, they don't even have their plan was not a good plan, and then they always got somebody hiding a camera in their nose or in their eye or something.
Well, Brenda, wait, you were talking about the former chair of the Florida Republican Party in Florida.
Yes, Jimmy Greer, little Jimmy. Little Jimmy.
He's been telling it all, because he's on trial for 6 felonies.
He is singing like a bird, Jackie.
And he's telling it all. He says that after the electoral spanking they had last cycle,
yes,
he sat in on many meetings where it was discussed how to make sure that what happened in 2008 did not happen again.
Yeah.
They discussed how they could suppress the college.
And don't forget your boy, serial fat ass, Newt Gingrich. He was at the meeting.
Oh, was he in Florida?
Yes, he. Oh no, not the Florida meeting, but he was at the meeting the night that Barack was sworn in Washington.
So that's a different meeting.
This is a different. That's right. And
voter suppression.
That's right, little Jimmy.
We're not talking about obstructionism.
Oh, sorry, Jackie. Let's get our law breaking offenses. Okay, keep them separate. Okay, so this is my Florida law breaking group.
Yeah, so Jim Greer, he's on trial, and now he's just telling all the Republicans business.
And showing up on all of the MSNBC,
yes, he is.
CNN stations, and telling it that I sat in on many meetings and was told how we were going to suppress the vote, how we were going to purge the roll, how we were going to do this and that.
Yes, and I have to say that in Florida, the Republicans have been working hard because they've gone from voter purges to registration, registration irregularities, to cutting back early voting, to putting out a gigantic ballot that'll make sure that it takes 200 years for people to vote. I mean, the Republicans have been really